Ladies and gentlemen, we have a video. So this video is going to be about Schecter guitars and what they mean to me. I'm going to give you a brief rundown of the history of Schecter guitars, and I've taken a lot of my information here from www.schecterguitars.com. Now, when I say brief, I legit mean brief, because what I mostly want to do is get to the guitars and what they mean to me as a whole. Now, David Schecter in 1976 opened up Schecter Guitar Research. They were a repair shop in Van Nuys, California. They manufactured replacements for necks, bodies, complete pickups, tuners, bridges, pickguards, and many, many more. But in the late 1970s, they had offered more than 400 guitar parts, but they didn't build a single guitar at all. So fast forward in 1979, they offered for the first time full-blown guitars. So they were actually, making and building guitars and obviously using their parts. Now, gotta have a sip of the good stuff, right? This is a Muskoka beer, localized to myself in my hometown. Now, back to this. Like I said, now fast forward into 1983, they reached a custom shop limit where they actually couldn't meet the demand. The demand was actually starting to get too much, with people wanting the guitars more and more and more. Now, eventually, in the same year, they were purchased by a few Texas investors who wanted to build upon the rep of the brand, essentially. And of course, in 1987, 4 years later, so they capitalized, but it switched hands again by now Hisatake Shibuya. Now, that's very terrible. That's very terrible. But yes, he is the Japanese entrepreneur who bought the brand from the investors, moved it back to California, and returned to their roots as what they were, as a custom shop. And of course, they were making a lot of very expensive guitars back then too. Now, the guitars and basses were only available at that point to a few retailers. One of those retailers being Sunset Custom Guitars, which is the exact location that when Michael Ciravallo worked. Michael Ciravallo, as a lot of you now know, he is the president of Schecter Guitars. Now, that having been said, he was a very, very experienced musician, and he brought many well-known musicians to endorse the brand. Probably the very first one that I ever heard of that was using Schecter guitars was Robert DeLeo of the Stone Temple Pilots. I was like, oh, that's a cool. I was watching a video. I'm like, man, that's a sweet friggin' Fender Tele bass. As a Schecter? Wow, okay. That sounds really good. And if you've ever listened to Stone Temple Pilots, which I'm sure that you have, his bass is a really grinding and growly tone, and it's super cool. Probably one of the main, well, it's actually the main reason why I actually got into, not got into, but was like, oh wow, okay, there's a brand called Schecter that exists, clearly. Also, Shawnee Zoe from Rob Zombie also used these basses as well. Now, the main man who was, as far as I'm concerned, and people, you guys can, bring this up in the comments and kind of prove me wrong. I'm totally okay with that. The main man who brought Schecter really into light, along with Robert DeLeo, was Jerry Horton from Papa Roach. Now, everybody has seen, the Last Resort video, and you could tell the brand name was really prominent throughout that video. Anytime you saw up close shots of his guitars. Now, we all know that, of course, in the late, kind of in the mid 2000s, I guess, 2012, I guess, mid is almost late of these last 20 years. They have since moved to their the 14,000 square foot facility, where they obviously have expanded to, and they did this in 2012. Now, of course, the references to this, like I said, have come from the Schecter website. So it is right up at the top here. I'm going to put the link in the comments below. Just check it out, guys. It's easy. On to my personal thoughts. Now, I love Schecter guitars and basses for one sole reason, and I will always support these guys from the very first time I bought one, right up until the day I'm no longer around. And the sole reason why they make the most and widest array of left-handed guitars and basses on the market. So much so, to the point where you can go onto the website. 85 to 90% of the models that they make, you can get a left-handed version of them. So, which in every single way is absolutely fucking amazing. You can get a Strat, a Banshee, an Apocalypse. Any of them, you can get the Reaper series. Now, mind you, the Reaper series, you're going to get like one color, but that's okay. Because here's the thing. You can not only get a Reaper, you can get your standard 6-string with your hardtail. You can get the Floyd Rose, and you can get a Floyd Rose with a sustaining neck in it. Like, how many other brands? Like, can you go to Ibanez's website and get that? No. Can you go to Dean Guitars' website and get that? You can get it if you want to get a dime guitar, but that's here nor there, right? On the bass side of things, if I want to go and I want to get a stiletto bass, which I have one, I'm going to show that momentarily. Yes, you can get a left-handed model. You can get a Banshee bass. Yes, left-handed. You can go and get whatever you want left-handed. The P4 bass, which is the redo of the P bass that they have, it's just got the split coil and not the Music Man humbucker in the bridge, just the P. You can get the J4 and the J5 bass left-handed. You can get a Riot 4 and 5 shape bass left-handed. You see where I'm going with all this here? One of the main reasons why I own Schecter guitars and Schecter basses is because you can get them left-handed. And you don't have to custom order them at all. I mean, you can, but that's here or there. Now, inclusion is their game, and I'm here for it. Now, I have 2 basses, and I'm going to show you one of my first ones here first. Now, I'm going to show it to you from my phone, and I understand. So I go, well, how come you don't have it with you? Because it's at my rehearsal space. I wasn't lugging all my gear home from the rehearsal space just because of this friggin' COVID shit. No, I don't think so. Now, here's a picture. Now, of course, this is me recording. So that's the headstock. And of course, you get your body shape. Excuse the fat gut. But you got kind of like, it's kind of got that old SG looking thing, but the body's much smaller. And of course, you get the super long neck. Now, of course, that's a 35-inch scale. I'm realizing that I don't like 35-inch scale basses at all. Because it's a pain in the ass. Because in order for me to get strings for that thing, I have to custom order them as a 5-string set because the bass is tuned BEAD originally. Now, they used to at one point only have black guitars and basses. Case in point. That was in the early 2000s, a lot of the new metal stuff, and of course, you know, like I say, the Jerry Horton signature, that was black. Or if you did get another color, it was usually like a natural finish or a red. Now, that having been said, here's my main bass that I use, and I think I've shared this before, but I'll pull that back so you can kind of see the red in it a little bit. Well, the light was slightly better. There you go. If you look real careful there, you'll see the red all through it. Now, of course, this is a standardized Schecter bridge. Schecter soap bar pickups in there. You've got 4 band EQ. In the back of here, you have the battery because these pickups are active. You've got vector inlays. These things are cool, and you've got a very thin neck. Like literally, and that's the thing about this neck here. Like It's like maybe an inch and a half. And of course, they got the Schecter tuners, and the headstock has kind of got the same paint job as the body, or has the same paint job as the body does. Of course, we've got the maple neck. Now, it's got a little bit of a satin finish on it. I would love to honestly take some sandpaper and kind of go along that and take that off. It's fast, but I find after a while when I get playing, like I sweat a lot. So it will definitely it'll definitely stick. The one good thing about this here, so there's the action on this puppy. I never have to use the truss rod on this, ever. I only had to do it once, and that was because I put brand new strings on it, and I kind of had the neck, or I didn't have the strings on it for a while, so the neck kind of bent a little bit. But then once I put the strings on and finally tightened it all up and get it all smoothed out, it was fine. And I only ever had that issue with that thing once. Once. That thing is perfect. And the action that you saw, how like kind of small it was, it came set up, ready to play. And that's another thing about that company that I love to death. I paid about $550 Canadian for that thing. Not an expensive bass. I've had it for 7 years. I've kicked the shit out of it. It's featured pretty well almost all over our brand new record. That Scorpion is on the C standard, so C, F, A sharp, B sharp, or D sharp. That's the tuning, so that's the Scorpion. That Scorpion stays in that until it dies, or if I get a new bass kind of thing, which I probably won't. I think probably what I'm going to do is beef up my amp before I beef up my before I get another Schecter, because they just kick ass. And that was featured on the band's first record, on Beyond Eternal's first record, and most of this one, and it's going to be on the next one and the next one and the next one until it dies or whatever have you. Now, back to the rest of my thoughts. Of course, this is all kind of ties in together. Thankfully, when Michael took things over as the president and became obviously the main dude, they upgraded a lot of features, like finishes. They started adding extra crazy, like super rad finishes. I mean, like some of them are just mind-boggling. Like you've got some of the wood grain, you've got bursts. They use a lot of poplar, or using a lot of burl on their finishes now. Especially if you look at some of the Reaper series. If you look at the Banshee series, they've got a charcoal, a red, a blue, and a purple, all with like a kind of like a black racing stripe. The headstock matches, the neck, the back of the neck matches, and even the pickups. It's so gross, man. Oh, yum. Now, and by doing that, it's making him look better as the main man behind all this. And they're not that fucking expensive neither. The one thing is that, like, I know one of the newer models they put out has Fishman Fluence bass pickups. And that's mind-boggling to me. Like, you'd never see that ever, like, in an Ibanez. I mean, Ibanez might be putting them in there now, but I don't think they're going to be doing, like, Schecter's like one of the first ones, I think, to do that with Fishman Fluence. And still selling them for a song. A fucking song. Oy vey. Like, and I mean, here's the thing. Like, another part about the lefties is that, yeah, the lefties don't get all the new upgrades and all the new colors and stuff. But who cares? You can go get a fucking brand new one. You can get a model that you want. Like, oh man, I would love that to be lefty. Oh look, they make it lefty. Let's go buy it. Well, they only have white or they have black or red. Who cares? Can you get it? Is it going to help you do what you needed to do? Yeah, then buy the fucking thing. I mean, or really, if they don't have the color you want like a purple, like a trans purple or like a flame purple, like I want on like a P4 or a J4. Fuck it. Go to get a custom shop. Have them build it. Mind you, it's going to cost you more, but that's besides the point. And some of the best parts about this is that the guitars nowadays, like the newer ones, like some of them that I've looked at on Long McQuaid, because Long McQuaid's selling them now, which is cool. You can get them anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. The highest one that I saw In Canada, like, you're looking at 1,200 to 1,900 bucks. Mind you, that's the SLS Evil Twin 5 string, which has got the, I believe that's got the Fisher influence in it. It's just totally jacked with shit, right? Like, it's mint. At the end of the day, no other company in the guitar business has this many lefties. None. No one. They're that, are this big and are mass producing these things. So, link to the website is above. Go check it out, as I said. I would love to have another, but I'm wait to see what I get, see what I want and kind of go through all the different models. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Have yourself a fantastic night.